I was asked to do an instructional video on tying tassels or tzitzit. So I'm really late on doing it, and I just remembered. So here's my instructional video. Now, what I have found is you just get you it's a tape measure, but it's like a clothing or fabric tape measure. I was trying to think of the name of it. The way that I do it is 2 cords of white, 1 cord of blue. That's specifically because the material that I use is micro paracord. But I'll do 38 inches, 2 cords of white, and then for the blue, I kind of guesstimate, but I'll do like 10 inches more or something like that. But I actually cheat because I make them often, kind of, so I'll show you. I kind of have just kind of scribed notches into my desk, which the 2 that I'm showing you now are for the shorter sets. Oh well, so you got that one, and this will be my first set of white, and then my blue will be like right here. And the shorter ones are because like I've made a set for my daughter, and then eventually my son will get a set. I don't try to worry about making them tassels until they can walk. Just doesn't make sense to me. But yeah, so now we're getting to the actual tying. And as with anything, you may find that you have a better length or a better standard for yourself, but this just worked, or what works for me. And sometimes I guesstimate anyways. You may have some excess that you got to cut off, but cut your 2 whites down, and then you want to get your blue. Now there's various ways you can do this, and I usually wear a tallit, and I started tying them onto my tallit, but I have since decided to clip them onto my tallit. It makes it easier, the washing and everything like that. But if you wanted to, you could just tie this, take your 2 whites and your blue, and you could just tie it into, a tassel without a clip, which is, possible. I don't see an issue with that per se. In fact, the way that I make mine, that I recommend actually, is more in line with that, because you can do your regular, what do they call them, like lobster clasps or something like that. And I've got multiple colors, but my favorite is to get a set of these because they're pretty much indestructible. And it's a little wore out, but it's like a little double-sided S-clip. And I like that because if I retire a set like the one you just seen, you can just clip it onto your new one. And so I will show you based on this set, or actually I'll do the lobster clasp. But you just thread it in. What I'll typically do is I will say it's easier to tie it this way. When you're actually tightening everything, it's way easier to do it with a stationary clasp that you're going to use permanently. But let me get set up for the next part. This actually works out perfect because I had forgotten that I had this phone mount light combo thingy, but essentially and again I cheat, I literally got this clip on the wall, or this hook on the wall, for this reason, but you get them to the same length, right? Some people will do like 10 inches off, but I've found that it doesn't really matter. You get them to the same length. The blue will match up on one side, and obviously it'll be longer on the other side. And what I like to do is take the two whites and a blue on the longer blue side and start the wrap with it. And some people are dogmatic about the knots. I am not. I will typically do one knot, and then you'll realize again that one side is longer as far as the whites, and I'll take and I'll wrap that side over the next time. I'm not dogmatic about the knots, like I said. Some people are. I just typically do knot, then my set of wraps, and then a knot, and then my set of wraps, and then continue on. But we'll start next. Alright, so after you get your knots, which I'll do, like I said, 2 knots in the beginning, and in between each wrapping I'll do 2 knots. At the very end I'll do 3 knots just for security's sake. But I do the knots, the wraps, the knots, the wraps, the knots, the wraps, and to where it's 5 sets of knots representing the 5 books of Torah, and then each wrapping will be a set of 10, 5, 6, 5. Yod, Hey, Wah, Hey. So that's the reason I do it that way. Alright, sorry the camera's shaking. This phone mat kind of sucks. But the way that I do it, this is my favorite style, is you wrap around one side with the long blue strand, and you pull it around through that loop, and then you just pull it up tight. And like I said, you're going to do that essentially 10 times, making sure that the blue stays taut. And so you pull it around. Gosh, I'm going to lose count. 4, 5, 6, 7. And sometimes you may have to rotate. That's the one good thing about these. What did I say? 7? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7, 8. 9, 10. So you do it like that, and then again, you'll take the longer set with white, and you'll do 2 knots. So it looks something like that. So 10, and then you'll do the 5, 6, 5. But I'll just finish this out. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you may have to scoot it up. 5, and then you'll take your longer white. And some people do the blue. In fact, some of my sets do have the blues wrapped with it, but for this, I'm just gonna wrap the white. One, 2. Go back to your blue. What? Here. Sorry, I'm got my son. So we got to 5. Now we're gonna do 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And again, wrap. Knots. 1, 2. Go back to your blue. I know I'm trying to speed run this. You do your 5 for closing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then what I like to do for this set is, or for the last knot, because you got, again, 10, 5, 6, 5, 3, hey, 4, hey. What I like to do for this one is find the longest white ones, and do a closing knot of 3. So 1, 2, 3. And that's just for extra security. And so you'll end up with something that looks like that with your spirals. Which I'm probably going to retie this one because that kind of boogered up on me. The reason it did that is because when I pulled tight with the next set, it went behind it. But yeah, either way, I like the spiral set, so I will probably undo this one and redo it. But the process was proper, so just remember that. It's just some better lighting, but like I said, that's where it kind of boogered up on me. It's not that hard to untie it and retie it, but you end up with that, and you can cut it to whatever length. That's why I kind of make them longer. Some people like longer ones. I particularly do. Mine are typically a little bit longer. In fact, the one that I have on my Tzitzit currently, which I'm not wearing at the moment, I just got them clipped to my pants, but the one on my Tzitzit is actually probably about that long. So, but there you go. That's how to make tassels or tzitzit. And I'm sure, again, some dogmatic people or very meticulous people will come and tell me that I've done something wrong. But you can Google it, and there's like 50 different ways. There's Ashkenaz and Sephardic. And depending on, like I said, I've done them both ways. The Sephardic tradition of wrapping, and I've done the Ashkenaz tradition of wrapping. Both are beautiful. Both are fine. I prefer this one. Which, I guess I should point out that is the Ashkenaz tradition with the spirals or the ridges. It's made to spiral around to kind of make it look like DNA. I think it looks the prettiest. Both types are fine, like I said. But that's my instructional tzitzit making video. Hopefully it was informative. Feel free to ask questions. Sorry it took so long to the specific individual that asked me to make one. Sister Jenna. But there you guys go. Shalom.